based on your deep experience with design thinking, carrying out that process, working with different teams and organizations, can you give us your top 5 pitfalls, challenges, or risks when it comes to design thinking based on the lessons you've learned? What not to do?
I don't know if I can make a top 5. I can mention a couple. One of the pitfalls is that people are not familiar with AI and have no clue in how it works. They kind of have either overestimation or underestimation. And if they're not willing just to have a closer look, a bit of a deep dive in what it actually is and how it works, then it's never going to solve that. So pitfall number 1 is these people do either overestimating or underestimating the possibilities there. The second pitfall, but I prefer to turn it around. It's not really a pitfall. What I see in practice is that people are really interested and enthusiastic the moment they start participating in, for example, design sessions or inspiration workshops. They tend to be maybe a bit over enthusiastic. And then it might the conclusions of the first prototype or even the first solution in production, well, they might be a bit disappointed there as well. That is a pitfall. On the other hand, it is fun to work with enthusiastic people who are really keen on looking what are the possibilities, what could we do with it. But managing the expectations back a bit is sometimes difficult. Third pitfall, but it's not so much in design thinking, because in this first phase of design thinking, you end up with a working prototype, ideally. Hey, but that is not production. Getting a prototype into a production environment is going through the whole process of creating a team, asking permission for the new technology to be implemented, sometimes training people, go through all the loops of security requirements, technical application maintenance. It is quite a long process, and I think it is very valid before you have an AI solution into production. It might be one of the reasons that some companies they tend to do not in their own environment, their own clouds, but just going for a cloud-based solution of another company. Mm-hmm. Can be very valid. But if they want to implement it in their own environments, the time between, hey, we have a working prototype and, hey, we have it into production can be quite long. Which means the design process, design thinking process works like very well, but then they have to wait quite some time before seeing it back into production afterwards. Yeah. I think this is a kind of a top 3 that we're experiencing now.
I have one question. What about choosing the right team? So you have everyone in a room, but if you haven't selected the right contributors, representatives, or if you perhaps not just haven't included everyone, but perhaps have included the wrong individuals who come to the process with irrelevant information or a wrong approach or perhaps some form of negativity, who does the selection? Is it you that determines, you as the expert that says these are the people we want to talk to, these are not the people we want to talk to? Or, how do you do that? And have you seen like negative or not always negative, but unproductive influences that have maybe hindered the process?
Yeah, not so often. What we always do is say like, hey, before we start the design thinking process, we do our homework, which also means interaction with the company, explaining how the process works, explaining what kind of representatives we're looking for. For example, this subject matter expertise is always crucial. So we kind of have our standard roles that we'd like to be present. We have interaction with the company in question to see which people could do it. My preference would be that I also have a short interview with each of them just to get acquainted, knowledge, explain a bit what we're going to do, to feel if they're enthusiastic or not. It helps if you have a longer term relationship with the company, because then you kind of know what you're looking for, and still you have this formal procedure that people have to be appointed by their management. But I think that really helps. We did sessions as well in which we had no control on the participants. It didn't really harm the process, but it's better to do some homework and ideally have some bilateral interviews before with the people present. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And my last thought is, what about ensuring representation of the end user? So these design sessions have contributors from within the organization. How do you make sure that the end users for which you are designing the front end, the customer experience, do you just bring in feedback or survey results, or do you actually have human contributors that speak on their behalf, essentially?
Yeah, we sometimes we have. There's even clients of the organization in question participating. We always have representatives of their own employees, front office, back office, depending a bit on where we're looking with our design session. Lately, we did a session for a Dutch government organization on which the people of front office and back office, they were kind of ideal candidates because we were allowed to have the seniors. They're also in charge of the knowledge base of the knowledge involved. So the 50% of the time they were just helping customers, either handling cases internally. Mm-hmm. 50% of the time they were continuously maintaining the workings, instructions, the procedures, the guidelines, how to work for the fellow less experienced colleagues. There was a kind of perfect combination for the design workshop. Yeah.
Super. Yeah. So Art, thank you so much for your time today. I'd really like to conclude by learning a bit more about what you do with Y.digital, what you focus on as an organization, and where you're going now in terms of the services you provide in relation to all of the technology evolution that's ahead of us that'll impact the scope of what you do. Tell us more about that, please.
Yeah, I'd be very happy to. Maybe some personal introduction first. Well, I'm a European based in the Netherlands, as you're aware of. More than 25 years of experience being an architect, the last 10, 15 years or so in very large transformation programs. And in 2020, I kind of changed that role again by starting being the co-founder of this new company, Y.digital. I did that very deliberately. I really enjoyed my job as being a lead architect in these large transformation programs. But hey, you can only handle one customer at a time. They're very intensive changes. The fun part is that you're always acting on boardroom level, but also within the working environment of the people doing the work in the IT department. You're kind of the only person that crisscrosses the whole organization from top to bottom, from left to right. I enjoyed that very much. But I saw this new AI trend coming, and already from 2010 on, I was interested. And I ran into some former colleagues that were working somewhere else. We did projects together. They founded an AI company. They sold it, and we kind of had the idea, okay, let's start a new one together. This is really, we see the potential. We really think that we can improve companies with it. We can improve people's lives with that, even if you use some of the AI possibilities. For me, it was a new challenge as well. Being in charge of digital transformation, building our consultancy practice, selecting more junior and media people in order to train them and having taking over my role. I kind of feel it's my age now to do this kind of thing instead of doing the programs on my own, which was fun as well. And with Y.digital, as said before, we're into natural language processing, which is really fascinating. Language is fascinating, but also how can you make knowledge out of all these texts that are available, either on the internet, in documents that might still be in people's minds. The most experienced subject matter experts. It might be in the way we communicate in voice, and that's why we wanted to focus on that. Around 25 people now, very international. I think we have 7 nationalities. Main language English. We started an office in Vietnam because we want to be present in Asia as well. looking forward to start new offices in Europe. So everything we do has to be made, as we say, repeatable. So our whole approach, already from the strategic sessions we discussed, through the design thinking, coming up with proposals, realization. We have our run book in which we kind of standardize the approach. From day one, we've been building our own AI platform using open source components. That came in very handy in the projects we're doing, but the underlying vision was as well that we want to productize solutions on top of the platform. And we have now already the first customers that are taking solutions based on a license fee that we're running for them. And we're now kind of in the process. Okay, we started with more like the technical AI people who have fundamental knowledge of AI. Many of them have their PhD in neuroscience or in language, for example. And we're kind of building it up now towards our consultancy practice. Technology is not the guarantees for success. It's all about digital transformation. Your latest book, you could say, how to transform organizations successfully to really be able to use the power of technology. We are really also into, as you can say, empowering humans. From the point of view that technology is so powerful, we should all continuously be thinking about how can we improve humanity, how can we improve customer contacts, how can we improve the employees within the organization with the power of AI. That's the kind of passion we share in our company. So we're quickly expanding now. Our local offices don't need to grow so much, but we want to open offices at least in Europe, and also the first one in Asia is already there. And start productizing. For now, AI is reachable for larger companies that can spend, considerable amounts of money on AI solutions. We want to lower that barrier so that also small and medium-sized enterprises can start profiting from the power of AI by offering products on top of our platform. So this strategy is, for now, it's been working like we envisioned it 3 years ago. Hey, we have the same thing, mission, vision, strategy. Keep on working and rewinding it. But so far, this is working very well, doing interesting projects, and it is a fascinating time, if I'd like to add that. Yeah.
Super. Thank you, Art.
Yeah.
Thank you again. It was a fascinating discussion and so much to look forward to. I hope we can have you back soon. We can perhaps drill down to some of these topics a bit more, but thank you again for your time today.
It was a pleasure to be in your show, Thomas.